The verse of the day, Acts chapter 26. In this instance, I recommend reading the whole story because it's about Paul, the apostle, when he makes his defense in front of King Agrippa, against the Jews who are accusing him of blasphemy, amongst other things. And what struck me is, I've read this story many times. Paul stands up and starts to make his defense, pleased to do so in front of a crowd because any chance to bear witness. But then in verse 14, he was describing to the king about his own conversion. Paul was describing to the king about his own personal experience as a Jew, who he was, as a scholar, a student of the law of Moses. He was describing to the king how he encountered Jesus. I think it was verse 14. He said, when Jesus appeared to him, Jesus said, "Why are you persecuting me?" Most people are familiar with that line. The second part is what hit me. Why are you going against the grain? Don't you know it is useless to fight against my will? In other words, why are you pursuing a path in life other than the one that I have prepared for you? That's what hit me. In life, we do this so many times. I have done this several times, pursuing a path other than the one that God has prepared for me. Truth is, you think you know best. To the best of your ability, you do what you can. Until you walk the path that God has put in front of you, you have never known happiness like that. It's like when for those of us that are happily married, you may have been happily single, but you didn't know that happiness had a different level. It's when you have more than one child. You would love your first child, but you never knew that you had the capacity to love more than 1, 2, 3, 4 children. So that is what it's like when you decide to turn your life towards the path that God has laid out for you. You find that even despite all the suffering in this world, you find comfort. Through the pain, that there is peace. You know that through the trials and tribulations, you can find joy. There is an experience in this life that you never could have imagined. In the best scenario, the best case scenario you could have pictured or painted for yourself, does not come close to the path that God has laid out for you when you experience Jesus Christ. When Paul was narrating this, I had to remind myself that Paul believed he was a follower of the law. He believed he was serving God. No one knew the law of Moses more than Paul. So when people describe Paul as the persecutor of Christians, really and truly, he saw himself as a defender of the faith of Judaism. For his eyes to be open and to see how the law fulfills everything that is promised about Christ, understand that he was going down the wrong path. That stood out to me. And my prayer is that in all areas of our lives, that we submit to the will of God, because God's way is always better. It takes humility to admit that. It takes a bit of just to be a bit more humble in certain areas of your life, to say, listen, I don't have all the answers. Not everybody can do that. But with God, it's the best and the only way to seek his counsel in all areas of your life. And I pray that you're blessed as you do. Until the next time.